Here we are on beautiful Jones Street.
You saw Ted Jones.
My town was like a super big like heroin town. Really bad. Yeah.
Like the pills or like needles?
Anything. There wasn't one awkward pause.
No awkward pauses.
A cold start. Here you go.
Yeah, right. Sara Huntington, what's up? Welcome to the podcast. Coming in from another borough, and we appreciate that. Okay, so how long have you been in New York City? We briefly talked the other night at a comedy club, but let's get started.
No, I moved here February 1st. So like the worst month ever to move here. It was freezing. But now it's burning hot. So
have you ever been here in New York during the summer or not really?
Maybe for like a vacation once. But no, not where I'm like physically having to walk everywhere and like get places and swamp bass constantly. No, I haven't.
So what kind of tourist stuff have you done since you've been in New York? Not much?
Not since I've been here, but like I came here a lot as a kid. Like my mom and my aunt, we would come here. So I've seen the Statue of Liberty and the World Trade Center.
Museums? You into that or not really?
Yeah, I did the like Museum of Natural History.
Okay.
I went to one in Astoria, the Museum of Moving Images for my birthday.
What's that?
That's what you do.
Moving images. It's not just like museum of videos.
Yeah, I mean, essentially that's what it is. It like starts out as like radio, and then it goes into TV production.
Oh, right. Okay, so it's like the history of pictures into movies theoretically.
It actually wasn't bad. I mean, that's what you do on your 31st birthday. Is just go to like a really weird museum.
You just turned 31 or what?
In March. Yeah.
So what sign is that?
Pisces.
We're not really like big sign people here, I guess.
Wait, what's yours?
I'm a Scorpio. So you and I get along.
Yeah, Pisces and Scorpio get along super well.
Yeah. Can certain people be friends?
A lot of times, like Scorpios are really understanding.
Okay, so do you know a lot about zodiac signs?
I mean,
sounds like you might.
I'm like, look at me.
What, that you look like somebody who knows a lot about?
No,
I don't know. Do you like these rose quartz? We got them on Amazon.com, not in the Amazon.
See, I like astrology, but I've never been into like the crystals. I have no idea.
Yeah, neither have I. I don't know why.
I have no idea what they do.
I have a few of them just like all over the place in my apartment, just to hopefully, I don't know, hopefully they'll do something.
I like the astrology stuff because I feel like even if it doesn't pertain to you, it kind of like whatever you relate to kind of tells you more about yourself. And then whether it's true or not, it's like, oh, that's what I'm relating to. So you can really capitalize on like, oh, I'm an empathetic person.
Yeah.
So whether it's true that that's coming from like your astrology sign, like there's a part of you that feels that way about yourself. And so like capitalize on whatever you think your best qualities are.
Okay, so what do Pisces and what sign don't get along?
Pisces and normally anyone that's like really headstrong, like Leos.
What is headstrong though? Because I feel like Scorpios are headstrong, no?
Yeah, but you're also a water sign.
Speaking of water, this water is all you.
Oh,
if you'd like to get some, I
brought a little smart water.
Okay,
but
go ahead.
But Scorpios are a water sign, so like even though you're headstrong, you're able to get along with another water sign pretty easily.
And you're another water sign?
Yeah. So,
but being a water sign, does that mean that you like the water or what? Like you like the ocean and pools?
Do you?
I guess.
Yeah.
I'll walk by the water. I'll go for a run on the West Side Highway. I love that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Like I love water, but I would never go like swimming in the middle of the ocean or anything. Right. I'm not like crazy. But
you're also from Indiana, where when's the first time you saw ocean? Don't mean that sounds rude, but when's the first time you saw the ocean?
How poor were you growing up? Just real quick.
No, I mean you're landlocked.
Kind of go through your childhood.
And also, side note, there's a Ted Jones Theater in Indiana.
No.
Did you know that? Right next to the University of Indiana, or Indiana University. I found this out. Huh. Ted Jones Theater. So eventually, maybe one day we'll go down
Jones?
there.
Who's
that guy?
Yeah.
I don't really know. He's a playwright.
Oh, okay. You didn't look into him.
Yeah, not really so much. I was like, I'm the guy.
I'm Ted Jones. I saw the ocean for the first time when I was like 8.
Where was it? Florida?
Myrtle Beach.
South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And why were you there?
I had family. My uncle was in the Navy, and he moved there for his wife.
Wait, he was in the Navy and he moved for his wife? Or his wife lived there?
His wife lived there. He met her while he was like, whatever that's called, when he was out doing war stuff.
Navy
or whatever.
Stuff.
Yeah, fighting people and stuff. And met her through that, and then she was from there. And they moved there. So then yeah, I got to go there.
What was your high school experience like in Indiana?
Teeny tiny. I'm from like the smallest town in Indiana.
Because we talked about this briefly the other day. Your high school wasn't big. It was small.
No, literally, like the smallest county in Indiana, which Indiana is already like super small and there's not a lot there. Also from the smallest county there. So like I didn't even have like a McDonald's.
No.
I swear. We had
So
like,
how many people were in your high school?
like 500.
Okay.
Which isn't like bad, but you have
Right.
to understand that was for the entire county.
What was the name of the county or town?
Union County, Liberty,
Union-
Indiana.
Liberty, Indiana.
Yeah.
Is that where Liberty University is?
No,
Or that's a different
there's
place.
no
Do you know what I'm
university.
talking about?
No.
There's another Liberty University somewhere. in
There's
some
no
state.
university there. I
No.
promise.
Everybody knew everyone. Were you super into the gossip into the town? Like, oh, do you see Shelby was wearing his short skirt?
Yeah, I mean, I was
in high
pretty
school?
gossipy.
Really?
Yeah. I loved a yap. Like, I love a little gossip.
And I saw you had a viral post recently with
Jojosiwa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the deal with her? I don't even know much about her.
So
She's a
if-
pop star.
Yes. I didn't realize that at 31 I would have beef with a 21-year-old pop star, but here we are. Yeah, she's like, so she was on Dance Moms. Do you know Dance Moms?
Yeah, that was with Honey Boo Boo, right? No.
No,
That's a
but-
completely different show.
But I do love Honey Boo Boo and
Yeah.
her mom.
Why did I confuse them?
Because
Or were they on the same network?
they were both on Lifetime TV.
Okay.
I think.
Or
I think
TLC?
it- Yeah. I think they were on the same network. I'm not really sure, actually. But Dance Moms was like this group of like 7 to 9-year-old girls that were like really good dancers. And the dance coach.
This is definitely recording. I just want to 100% make sure. Go ahead.
It definitely is.
Yes, it is. Okay.
So the
go ahead.
dance coach was like this. She was just kind of bitchy, but like in a good way. Like she like.
Oh, she went to jail.
Did she?
The dance coach? I thought she went to, what was her name?
I cannot think of her name right now.
Abby?
Abby Lee.
Yeah, she went to jail, I think.
For what?
Pretty sure. I don't know, tax fraud or
I
something
can
like
see
that.
her going to
Yeah, for like a good amount of time.
That
But anyways,
I can see that.
go ahead.
And then she ended up in like a wheelchair and a neck brace, and did she get beat up in prison? I don't know, but
I don't know that far.
so she was on like that show, and then she just got like really famous on TikTok doing dances kind of on her own, and then yeah. Have you seen it?
Not really,
Other
no.
than like what I did?
No, like I thought she was fine, or I don't really know much about her. This fly's gonna kill me. Okay, go ahead.
She's fine, but she's doing this like weird, like kind of transition. And honestly, I think she's 21. I think she's like coming into herself and trying to like break away from this like dance character that she was with like the bows and the pink hair and all this stuff. And she's trying to like give herself this like bad girl image, but it's just like, it's bad PR. It's really bad. Like somebody, if you want to be like a bad girl, be like a cool,
Like Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah. Yeah. She's going through like her Lindsay Lohan stage, only in like a WWE wrestler kind of way. And it's just not working.
Well, but the people who start as child stars and then go through their bad phase, I feel like no PR company or no PR person would ever recommend them going through it that way. Though.
Yeah,
you know
they're
what I mean?
almost like forcing her to go through it, and it's coming off corny, and I feel bad for her. I don't like. I'm happy that she saw it because I mean, like, I know that what I said was like a good joke because I was like, the cool thing is like,
Just to review it, go ahead.
yeah,
and
the
say
cool
what you
thing is
said.
like we're not judging her based off her sexuality because she came out as gay, and that's like kind of been a lot of the weird transitioning stuff. Is like she was this girl that is identifying as a lesbian but also wearing all these like pink bows and all that kind of stuff, and so she wanted to switch her image to fit her sexuality and her style more. And I'm like, you know what's crazy is like we're not hating her based on her sexuality. It's about her as a person, which is like pretty progressive actually, considering 10 years ago like it was still a huge deal when like I guess it was more like 20 years ago when like Madonna and Britney Spears kissed on stage. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we've
At the
came a long
VMAs.
way in
Yeah.
society as far as you know who you can like, and like you used to not be able to, if you said that you hated a person that was gay, it was like, oh, are you homophobic?
Yeah.
Now you don't even have to, like, she's bringing people together by common hatred. Whether
Being from a small town, do you see that people are more accepting of things like that?
more accepting, no, much less accepting.
Really?
Oh, for sure.
Why is
Yeah.
that? Especially as the time has gone on.
I think just really conservative views, and like every time that I go into my hometown, it's just like Trump flags, like to this day.
Yeah.
And it's like not even like the Trump people. Like here, I feel like people that support Trump in New York are like actual business people that like truly are like, no, I just want him to like give me a tax break. The people in my town that support Trump are doing it for all the wrong reasons. Where it's like,
I can't imagine he's gonna get arrested. They would just start riots all over the country. It wouldn't be good.
I don't understand.
Or like I go to jail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not like super into politics.
Neither am I.
But I'm like, how do you get to keep running for president after that?
Yeah, you can't even vote for president.
Right.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
How does
It's
that?
insane.
What?
And then outside of Trump Tower, I was up there the other day. Here, pop up the clip, and it's just like the amount of reporters and then Trump supporters outside of Trump Tower. It's wild.
Yeah, I was like, well, I know the case was here in New York, and I was like, I should go down there just to like.
Did you?
No.
Yeah, no.
No, I didn't care that much, but I was watching it on TV, and I was like, I'm literally right here.
Throughout his entire presidency, that I feel like it's just good for media for him to get reelected.
Oh, right.
You know, like it's good for ratings, good for everything.
My
good
friend
for
called me and she
business.
was like, at least everyone's going to shut up about it now. I'm like, shut
No,
up about it.
No.
Like, no, this is
People
where.
are just going to talk about it way more.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything, it's just caused everybody to want to. The people that support him are going to support him more. The people that hate him are going to hate him more. It's more of a divide, unlike Jojosiwa, who's bringing everyone together through hatred. True. Donald Trump is actually separating more people. So,
how did you get into comedy originally, being from a small town? Did you do plays and stuff?
No, not really.
No.
I wrote a lot. I was like a big writer in high school. I wrote a lot of poetry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you do like Def Jam poetry or what?
Not really.
Like
I never performed
mics?
it out loud.
Really?
But I was really into writing, and I got a scholarship for this poem. I have a published poem.
Really?
If you're wondering. Yeah. That I wrote when I was 16.
To where? Where did you get the scholarship to?
Oh, it was just like a, I don't know, a
college?
grant, I guess. Yeah, to college. It wasn't like I had to go to a specific college, but I went to college for advertising.
Where'd you go to college?
Ball State University.
Oh, yeah, you told me that.
David Letterman School.
Okay, right.
But I wanted to write. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to write, copywriting, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, one of my sisters does that.
Yeah.
I still don't ultimately understand what she does. I mean, she works for, or she does, I guess, independent contractor work for brands. So if you see something in Sephora and it says a bunch of different words, that's kind of what she does.
Yeah.
And
like now it's more like SEO and that kind of stuff. Like you're you're
online.
doing like trigger words to get people to like buy things, see things, like clickbait and that kind of stuff. So copywriting is basically just like writing words that will get people to buy stuff. It's very boring, but I really didn't know. I don't think like where I grew up, there was like a lot of opportunity for creative outlets. Like we didn't have plays or a theater program or anything like that. So like I didn't even realize that was an option until I was out of college and I started going to comedy clubs and just saw people performing really for the first time.
Making the move to New York, what made you do that?
I feel like I just kind of outgrew Indiana in a way, and in more ways than just comedy. Like I just truly outgrew everything that I was doing there. And
what was one of the first jobs you had though, out of college, like going back
out of college?
Indiana? Yeah.
First job out of college was liquor sales.
Liquor sales. So you were at the local liquor store?
No, I did
Oh, because you worked in advertising. I was thinking you were like,
it actually
let me see your ID.
It had nothing to do with my degree. I was a bartender.
I'm putting on the AC. It's hot.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I was a bartender all through college, and so I was like a liquor rep. So you'd go into bars and like try and get them to buy certain.
Would that mean you would have to be drinking during the day?
All the time.
Like
Yeah.
Really?
Our meetings were literally
But you don't drink anymore. Anyway, sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead. Besides water.
I will drink. I think everyone assumes that I don't drink. I will drink. I just
Well,
don't
no,
really,
I'm not assuming. I thought I saw a post that you said you don't.
Yeah, I'll have a drink. I just really I used to drink excessively.
Yeah.
And I just really liked drugs. My thing is I was more into drugs than I was drinking. So drinking was never really my problem. My problem was I would have 7 drinks and then I would want to stay up. And so I would do drugs. And then that's where a lot of my problems came from. It really wasn't from having a drink at brunch, you know?
Was that in high school that you started because there wasn't a lot to do in a small town, or what?
No. High school, my town was a super big heroin town.
No.
Really bad. Yeah.
The pills or needles?
Anything. My brother and sister both were addicted to heroin. Both went to prison. 2 of my cousins passed away. It's just a big heroin town. And it's
I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh my.
That's why I do comedy, I mean, bad things happen so you can make things funny.
Right.
But yeah, of course. You're the happiest, sweetest guy ever.
No, but I had my phase. I had a ketamine phase. Yeah.
Ketamine is it's definitely more of a downer. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, it was just it would remove you from reality.
Feel
but I imagine heroin was like that too.
Yeah, I mean, I never did heroin, but I was very against pills because of that. So a lot of people in my family, I was I'm never doing drugs. You'll never catch me doing any type of pills.
Right.
But then I found cocaine, and I was kind of I mean, technically, it's not a pill. So I'm that's where everything kind of
Were a
started.
lot of people in your town doing that? Why does it start like that in small towns? Is it because of there's not a lot going on?
No, it's actually because opioid crises are more prevalent in smaller towns because when they first started with Oxycontin, that kind of stuff, they were promoting it to farmers. And
why?
Because they would get hurt on the job or they would have back pain, but they had to still, they were doing these pretty strenuous jobs, working out in the field, working late nights. And so they were promoting it to these small town farmers that would get hurt, and then they would be oh, you won't have any back pain if you take this. And
which is true, right?
Yeah, a lot of these small towns, they were taking Percocet and Oxycontin, and nobody knew that it was bad. Nobody knew that these were super addictive back then. This was in the
early 2000s.
No, this would have been 80s probably,
yeah? Okay.
80s, 90s when they were doing that. And then a bunch of people got addicted to these pills, and then that's when the doctors quit prescribing you. OxyContin had this huge lawsuit where they weren't allowed to sell it anymore, and so then a lot of people got addicted to heroin because it was more addictive, and it wasn't regulated by any type of doctors or anything. So, yeah, people are just doing it on the streets now.
I guess it really does make sense, though, that it would first be prescribed to people that have labor-intensive jobs that need to keep working. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'd also be people who work at sea or something like that.
Construction workers. Yeah. It's a lot of blue-collar jobs were affected. The people that worked on cars, getting hurt on the job. Anybody that had a typical blue-collar job was more likely to be affected by the crisis, the opioid crisis, and that's where the heroin crisis stems from. Is from opioids. So.
Now it's a lot of fentanyl in New York. I don't know about small towns, but it's crazy.
Which I don't understand the fentanyl. It's I don't it's only this much to kill you.
Yeah.
Why would you take that risk?
I don't know.
Or who's putting it in there? Who's
putting it in other drugs? Yeah,
drop.
Maybe because they cut it with fentanyl and it looks similar.
Yeah, but
so you get better returns. I don't even know.
It's so little that you need a fentanyl. When you're cutting it with something else, you'd think you'd want to cut it with something that's less
kill you,
potent,
baking soda. Right.
Yeah, less potent, less money. So I don't get it at all.
I wonder in the future if with the microchips in your brain, there would just be a certain amount of Juul pod or something. You just put it in the microchip and then you could just release a good amount.
Ooh.
I don't even know. That sounds like high-tech drug use.
Yeah, I mean, I would...
I don't know what I'm thinking about.
It would be nice. I would... Honestly, if I were to, get, 30 days to live or whatever...
Yeah.
I would try heroin, for sure. If they were you have, 3 months to live, I would try it. Because I just want to know,
Do you know Derek Drescher?
Yeah.
fellow comic.
Yeah.
I asked him what it was like. He was like, it's the best thing ever. I mean, he doesn't do it anymore, but he was saying it's the best thing ever, which is crazy to think about because you're not really, I mean, when you hear that, you're intrigued theoretically. Yeah. But have your siblings expressed that kind of same feeling too?
Yeah.
That's what they'll
and
say.
you can imagine, like, I can't imagine something that ruined my whole life. But then you ask, like, oh, what's it like? And they're like, it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like, something that, like, even Derek Dresser, I mean, like, he'll tell you, like, his life, I mean, he went to jail. I mean, things got really bad. But still, it's like, they're like, there's nothing like it. It's like...
I wonder back in the day, though, when the Chinese had the opium plants with the tea, it must have been different.
The poppy seeds or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like, I feel like the truck drivers are still doing like the OG poppy seeds and stuff.
How do you mean?
Like the Asian culture where it's like legit like poppy seeds. That's where opioids.
But how do you do poppy seeds?
I don't really know.
Just like eat them, put them in your lip.
I think you got to do. I think you just like dip them.
Just spitting them out the window or spitting them in the cup.
I think you have to do something to them. I don't know. I haven't looked too much into that.
Yeah. So you said, just to touch back on it, if you're cool with talking about it, it ruined your life because of the way that your siblings were affected by it and your family.
Yeah, like the heroin stuff. Yeah, it was just messy, you know. Like my sister went to prison. I was like 15 when she went to prison, but she had 2 kids, so her kids had to move in with us. And then I was like 15 years old. I was taking care of like this I didn't like raise them and love them, but I was like these 2 little bastard kids. Like they moved in when they were 6 months old and 5 years old, and I was like, ugh, like how can you like ruin your whole life like that, you know?
How are they doing now?
Better, a lot better. Not perfect, but you know.
I mean, it's and everyone's addicted to something for the most part. I mean, whether it affects your entire life, that's different. But everybody kind of has something, I'd say, each day that they're trying to not do, right? Yeah. Whether it's something simple like biting my nails, like I freaking bite my nails. Same. Or it's like I smoked so much weed from the ages of 15 up until like 4 months ago, like 4 or 5 joints a day.
Wait, 4 months ago you stopped?
Yeah, kind of.
Cold turkey?
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's good. There's some times when I'm like, I want to smoke, but I won't.
Yeah. What made you want to stop?
I just think I'd been doing it for so long and like consistently for so long, and I was just like, I don't know. That's a good question. What made me want to stop? Because I had. In New York, as you know, you can really buy weed anywhere for the most part.
Yeah.
And I had 9 of those hole puncher things where if you buy 9, you get the 10th one free. And I was about to go get like my 10th thing free.
Yeah.
And I just like ripped up the card and I threw it out. It was insane.
You ripped up on your free one?
I know. That's like a crazy time to quit.
What are you doing?
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I think that was just so the last day was February 7th. So.
Oh, wow.
Almost 4 months. Yeah.
Do you feel better?
I don't know.
No.
My dreams are out of control.
Oh.
Still, they're so weird, so vivid.
Yeah, because you're probably not going into that like deep sleep.
No. I think now I am, and I wasn't previously. I was like sleeping baseline.
Oh.
But I don't know. Will I ever smoke weed again? Maybe. But when I stopped smoking, I didn't intend to not smoke for this long. I was just like, all right, let me see how long I could do it. Yeah. But now I have, and I also haven't drinking in like 2 months. So now I'm a sober vegan. So it's like, even my sisters are like, something's got to give. But I don't know. I feel fine. I'm all right.
It's crazy that you still have a personality. Yeah. It's like, that's...
Well, when I was smoking a lot of weed, though, the only thing that really changed was before the podcast, I didn't smoke 3 hours before just so I could be clear-headed.
Yeah.
And like 3 hours or so before I go on stage.
Yeah.
And then now before the podcast, I don't really eat because sometimes that'll cloud my head and I'll stutter a little bit. I have these weird things. I've tried so many different things.
Wait,
I think
so
in my
it's 4 o'clock, so you haven't ate yet today?
Yeah, no, I'm a little hungry. I was about to have grapes since you said you were gonna be like 10 minutes late, but I was like, I don't want to mess it up. I want to be ready to go.
Yeah,
so I haven't eaten.
Have you had
I do a lot of weird things.
Other than water? Did you have coffee or anything?
Yeah, I have coffee. Oh, I have so much coffee.
Okay, so you just have a lot of like...
Americanos or whatever.
Yeah. Wait, so...
A lot of what?
Now I know this is like,
so.
this is your podcast, so you've probably talked about this.
No,
but like,
hit it.
Did you start out vegetarian?
What a good question. How come the 250 comedians who have been on this podcast have never asked that? So vegetarian theoretically would be, I could still have cheese and eggs.
Yeah.
So not the cheese, because I had pretty invasive jaw surgery, if you can see right here, my scar. And that kind of changed my whole perspective on life. That's when I was like doing too many drugs. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was working in real estate. And it was July of 2019 is when I had the surgery. So at that particular time, like a year after, I was like, all right, I want to start, a month after, I was like, I want to start the podcast. I had broken up with my ex-girlfriend at the time. I stopped doing drugs. And it was just a whole life change.
And you had the jaw surgery.
Yeah, I think that's what triggered it. It was July 2019. But I never was a foodie, really. And then it was really difficult for me to chew for months. I lost a lot of weight, couldn't chew. So I switched to softer foods, and then that's when I kind of made the transition. I can't remember the last time. I never was really affected by cheese, but apparently cheese triggers the same part of your brain as heroin, if you've ever heard that.
What?
Yeah. There's like casein in cheese
sense.
that like people, when I talk to people about going vegan, they say, I can never give up cheese. That's the main thing I hear. And I was never really into eggs. So those are the two main things that are vegetarian, or the cheese and eggs, and I never really was into it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I think it's just difficult when you like go out to eat and stuff like that.
That's true. But being in New York,
because you don't really know,
helped.
unless you go to like a vegan restaurant, you don't really know like if they're like battering it and what they're
No, I'll ask if there's butter in it, and I'll ask if they can not put it in, but maybe sometimes they have.
Yeah.
I hope not, but maybe they have. And when I have pasta with red sauce, usually there's butter in the red sauce, but I'll ask not.
But who knows if that's actually happening.
I hope it's happening.
Yeah.
In a vegan way.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you know, like being vegan in New York and places like LA or Miami, places that I go to, way easier than I'm sure in a small town. Like, how often do you go home?
Not that often. Not to my hometown very often.
How do you get there?
By plane.
No, but where do you fly into?
Oh, Indianapolis.
Okay, and then how far is that?
It's like 2 hours from Indianapolis.
Ooh,
yeah. So it's like middle of nowhere.
Okay, so you're saying how often do you go home?
Yeah, not very often. Maybe when I was in Indy, I would go home like maybe like once every 4 or 5 months. Like wasn't too often. But okay, so I was going to tell you, when I was in high school, my friend and I made a bet that because her sister was a vegetarian, and I was like, I bet I could be a vegetarian, and she was like, how long do you think you could do it for? And I was like, at least 3 months. And she was like, I bet I could do it longer. So we like shook on it, and we were like, okay, let's see how long one of us can do this for. And at the time, I was like a super picky eater. Like I ate bread, steak, like cheeseburgers. Like I was like one of those kids that was like, you took me to a restaurant and I ate like chicken fingers kind of until I was like 16. And then it forced me to start trying stuff. Like I remember I tried tomatoes for the first time.
You never like ketchup?
Well, I'd like eat ketchup, but I like not like a tomato or like avocado. I had Indian food for the first time when I was a vegetarian. And I remember I walked in and it was like an Indian buffet. And you've seen Indian food. And it's like all vegetarian a lot of times. And I walked in and I was like, again, picky eater from like a small town. And I was like, I'm not fucking eating that. And then my friend was like, just try it. Like, I think you'll really like it. And it made me start eating things. And that's why I feel like I'm more of like a foodie now. Or I'll try a lot of stuff because I was limited on what I could eat. It actually made me start eating more, which is kind of weird. And I did win the bet, by the way, because she got like some sort of like blood disease.
From going vegetarian?
I don't know if it was related, but they were basically like, you have to eat more protein.
How long were you vegetarian for?
2.5 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. And why'd you switch back?
I won.
You won. She was a vegetarian for that long too?
Yeah.
Oh damn.
Yeah. We
ladies.
just like kept the bet going, and then like at some point it was like, oh, like we're not really keeping track of the bet. I didn't even remember what we were supposed to win.
Like $20 or something.
Yeah, and so by that time it was just like we were both in college. We were in different colleges, but we would just like occasionally like check in, and I'd be like, "You eating any meat yet?" And she's like, "Nope," and we would just go a few months, not talk about it, and then no, there wasn't like one specific thing. I think I remember I went home that summer for college, it was my sophomore year of college, I went home and my friends and I went to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oof.
I know. And I always just got the fries and I would dip it in the buffalo sauce. That was like what I would always get. And like I was just like, I want a boneless wing. Like I want a freaking boneless wing. And so I got them, and then it just kind of
And then you continue from there.
Went downhill from there.
Where were a lot of people from who went to Ball State? Was it more just like a local
Indiana
kind of crowd?
Yeah. It was like Indiana, Ohio. Yeah, not a lot of, like IU, Indiana University, has a lot of people from all over.
Right.
Because they have like the Kelly School of Business.
Yeah.
Which is for smart people.
Did you start going to Chicago first for comedy? Mm-hmm. And how did that, you would like go there for a weekend or what? Was it close enough to where you lived?
It was like 3 hours, so I could go, up one night and come back. But I had friends that lived up there, so I would like go up there for like a day or so. But I love Chicago. I think, honestly, it's probably my favorite city in the summer and my least favorite city in the winter.
Good yin and yang. I'm going there, or one of my best friend's bachelor party is at like Lake Wisconsin, like an hour and a half from Chicago.
Yeah.
So I'm flying in on like July 5th. The day after the 5th annual Ted Jones World Vegan Hot Dog Eating Contest at 167 Bleecker Street. Guys, we still have 7 spots left for the contestants. 10 minutes, all you can eat vegan hot dogs, followed by a fresh comedy show. DM me to enter. And if you guys would like to come to the event, please feel free. 167 Bleecker Street, July 4th, 2 p.m. It's going to be amazing. But if you would like to compete, Ted at tedjonesworld.com. Send me an email.
Wait, so you'll be competing as well?
No, I'm hosting.
You're just hosting
So this is the 5th annual one. Last year we were at the Moxie Williamsburg Hotel, and then the year before that we did the Stand. And then the first 2 were on Zoom.
Do you know who's from Indiana?
Who's from Indiana?
Joey Chestnut.
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I would love to have him compete in the contest. We'll see.
He would come into.
One day.
I used to work at a bar, and he's wild. He drinks a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because he's a competitive eater, so anything he drinks, it's down the hatch.
I wonder if anyone's ever gonna beat him.
A girl did.
No.
A 23-year-old.
Not in a hot dog eating contest.
Not a hot dog.
Yeah.
It was
a girl. The 23-year-old girl did. No way.
There's this place called St. Elmo's Steakhouse, and they have like the world's hottest shrimp cocktail sauce. And once a year, they have like a shrimp cocktail eating contest. I'm talking like, I know, it's when you eat this cocktail sauce, like, no matter how many people tell you, hey, it's really spicy.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, okay, like, you're white, but when you eat it, it's so much horseradish that it like makes your whole head hurt. So they do a contest to see who can eat the most, and a 23-year-old girl beat him last year.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's got to stick to the hot dogs.
Yeah, he's more of a hot dog man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's just the spiciness got to him.
Yeah, that's insane. Anything really super spicy like that, I can't do. On the podcast before, we've had people try like this company used to send me hot sauce, and we were trying like just a little bit of this Carolina Reaper hot sauce, and then like couldn't continue the pod.
Carolina Reaper.
Yeah,
I love the names
terrible.
of them.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the Carolina Reaper pepper is the hottest pepper in the world.
Oh shit. Yeah. I like spicy, but I don't like when it's painful.
Yeah.
Like
anyway, before I just did that ad, what were we talking about? We were talking about.
Do you have ADHD?
Oh, I said ADD.
Okay.
But close to ADHD for sure. No, we were talking about Chicago, and I'm going there July 4th, and then I'm going there for a wedding like August 12th. So I'm looking forward to Chicago. Are you going to do any shows there? I don't know. I'm going to be there for sure Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I don't know if it would be worth it for me to go like 2 days before that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you do, let me know. I can, there's like some cool like smaller shows that like, like Laugh Factory's there and it's great, but like also it's hard to get in.
My buddy recorded his album at the Den. Do you know that theater? Mm-hmm. And I opened for him when he did shows there previously. Yeah. But yeah, I like Chicago.
Yeah,
it's
Lincoln
cool.
Lodge is really cool. They do a lot of shows there,
right?
And it's fun.
How have you acclimated to New York? Do you love it yet, or what?
I think
3.5 months in, or almost 4 months. 4 months.
I don't feel uncomfortable here, and I don't think I realize how comfortable I am here until someone comes to visit me. and I'm just, like getting on the subway. I like kind of know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. And they're just like scared or confused the whole time. And like for me, within like a month, I understand the subway system more than I've ever understood driving in my life. Like I'm one of those people, if you tell me like, oh, we're going east, I have no idea when we're driving which way.
Right.
But the subway, I'm like, oh, I want to go towards Queens. Oh, I want to go towards Manhattan. Like all of that makes sense because it's not like, oh, it's an eastbound train. It's like, this is a Manhattan-bound train. I'm like, perfect. I'm trying to go to Manhattan.
The signs are pretty good, too, right?
Yeah.
And also, like having phone, too, helps.
It's just like, this is Brooklyn-bound. I'm like, oh, perfect. That's where I'm trying to go. Like, it just, like, it makes more sense than, like, directions when you're driving a car. It's like, oh, head east on I-70 West. And I'm like, what?
That's a little too much.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So that part has came pretty easily. And comedy stuff is going like, I mean, I guess it's good. Like, I'm not going to complain because I know a lot of people move here from out of state and they hate it, the comedy scene.
Why is that? Because they feel like they're starting over?
Yeah, which you do have to start over. And that part kind of sucks. But I do think that I had like at least enough of a backing coming here that it wasn't like I was starting out over like only going to open mics, which has helped me. So, yeah, I mean, there is a part of me that's kind of like, God, if I was in Indiana, I could really reach out to, like, anyone and do a show pretty much anytime I wanted.
You'll get to that point in New York.
But here, it's like, I'm reaching out. Like, I reach out to you. Hey, I know you don't know me, but I promise I don't suck. And, like, it's like this awkwardness of having to, like, prove that you're not terrible to people when, like, I didn't have to do that for the past like 4 years. Right. So, but it's still,
Well, Sara actually reached out and you're friends with a good friend of the pod, Hannah Burner.
Yes.
And she's killing it right now.
Absolutely
killing it. And you toured with her when she was Indiana. How did that relationship start?
She came to Indianapolis for, this was like back in 2020. Just reached out to her anytime that she was in the Midwest. And then, then she started getting shows where it was like back-to-back nights, and she was like, well, just come with me. Like if I'm going to do like Wisconsin, Michigan, Detroit, like 7 cities around here, like just come to all of them with me. And I was like, I mean, I guess.
Hell yeah, girl. Do you still do podcasts or no?
No, I
saw
had a
you
podcast.
Did for a little bit.
I had a podcast in Indiana, which I loved. It was with my friend Heidi. We're just one of those people like, like you have a friend where it's never a dull moment. We're just back and forth. We lived together, we worked together, we did everything together, and we never had a dull moment in our lives with conversation. So the podcast was just really fun with her. But no, I think I want to start something here. I think I want to do something like should I leave? Like should I leave as far as like my job or my relationship, or I feel like a lot of people get stuck.
Oh, that's what you want to title the podcast?
Yeah. Or just like instead of convincing people why they should do something, like here's why you shouldn't. Like, because I did it myself where I would get stuck in like a job or relationship or something that I didn't like, but I'm like, well, it's really good money, or like it's going to be good for my resume. Wait, convincing people
they should leave or should not leave?
Should.
Okay.
Yeah, like get the fuck out of there. Who cares if that's going to look good on your resume in 10 years? Like, who knows what what society will
and
even
you
be
lived
like
it.
then.
You lived the shit I leave.
Yeah. Like relationships. Like so many girls that I talk to, my friends, they're like, yeah, but like I'm so close with his mom. I'm like, okay. Like,
are these people from your hometown who maybe wouldn't want to leave because they have to theoretically start all over, or in general?
And the Midwest is like, it's not like in New York, there's people that are like 40 years old and they're like, I don't know, I just feel like I need to travel a little bit more still, like before I settle down. Where in Indiana, it's like, if you're 25 and not like somewhat settled down, people are like, so are you a witch? Or
I feel like in New York too, the age, well, I mean, like my grandma's always like, oh, when you get to meet a nice lady. Besides that, people don't really expect you to settle down as much,
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's probably like a Midwest thing in the back.
But also like 20, 25 years ago, people were having kids earlier. People were getting married earlier. So I think the age is kind of extending out a few years for show. Do you have a boyfriend?
I do.
And he lives in New York?
He lives in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like it's very odd what we're trying to do right now. So we met in October, and I knew that I was moving here, and he was like, "Oh, cool. I'm moving back to Arizona." He's from Arizona, but we met in Indiana. He's like, "I'm moving back to Arizona in 2 months. So let's just like hang out until you move to New York, I move to Arizona." And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like so cool and chill and like don't get attached easily, so that will definitely work. And it didn't at all. So we're doing long distance, just trying to figure it out, you know.
And you guys, I imagine, like talk every day.
You would talk like most days, yeah. I kind of like it, to be honest. And if he listens to this, he would hate to hear me say this, but like I like long distance. Like I still get to do whatever I want to do, and I still get to like focus. Because most of the time when I'm in a relationship, I'm like I can't focus on my career and what I want to do, and then also you. And I'm going to get rid of the thing that I love the least, which is you. So,
is that a Pisces thing? Because I don't think I could do that. I tried it for 6 months when I was a senior in college, and this girl was a junior. She was a junior, but she went abroad to London, and I couldn't really do it. I didn't like it.
We're also not in high school and going abroad.
That's true. That's true. Well, I mean, that's the only time I really tried it, though.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
So we're both like...
Oh, it was college. Did I say high school?
Oh, college. Okay. So, but still, like,
school.
college, you don't have money to go, like, see them if
That's
you wanted to. Like,
no.
we both are able... Like, he could come here once a month. I can go there once a month. Like... And then I still get to do kind of everything that I'm doing. Plus, I've like heard horror stories of the dating scene in New York, and I'm like, well, I don't think I want to do that.
People ask like, "Oh, you're still single? Why are you single?" Maybe I like it this way.
Yeah, I was single for like 2 years, and I feel like as a woman, a lot of times like you almost get like a lot of, I don't know, more so from like incels on the internet, where it's just like, oh, you're just lonely. You're just lonely and sad. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Do you want kids?
Ooh. I didn't want kids for a long time, mostly because of like my sister, you know, like having to raise her kids and stuff. I was like, fuck kids. Like they've ruined everything for me. And like, they're a lot. Like if you've never had to raise a kid, then like I don't think you realize how much work a kid is to raise. A lot of people are just like, well, I want to see what I would look like. I want to see my mini me. It's like, it's more than seeing your mini me. You have to like take care of this other human, like, and teach it everything.
But nobody, rarely do people see that side though.
Right.
So you think less people would want to have kids if they saw the side where you have to freaking change the diapers, babysit.
And it's just like fundamentally teaching them how to be a human. That is the hardest part, where it's like, this is how you take medicine. This is how you take a pill. This is how you swallow a pill. Like, this is how you like hold your fork, and like this is how you act in public. Like you don't scream. You don't scream cuss words in public. Like there's
I guess like to be honest, I've never really even thought about that.
It's weird stuff that like
in terms of teaching another person.
Yeah, you
have
to
do a lot of shit.
Teach them to be a human.
And you got to pay attention.
Yeah,
always.
Yeah, and like. You know, riding a bike, that kind, I know like everyone, like you learn how to ride a bike, but there's just little things where it's like, it's a lot of effort if you want to have a kid. It's not just, unless you're super rich and you have a nanny that takes care of them, or you're a stay-at-home mom, which you have to be able to afford that lifestyle. Your husband has to, or, you know, wife or whatever has to, one of you has to make enough money to support a one-income household. So for me, I've never wanted kids because I've never felt like I was in a point in my life where I could successfully do everything that I want to do and make a fully developed functioning human.
Until?
No, I think like my thing is I'm like by 40, if by 40 I have successfully done enough in my life where I feel like I had the money and the free time to take care of a kid, I would. But if I don't, then I won't.
So you're saying you're going to give yourself till 40?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Whitney Cummings had a kid at 40.
New age thinking though, right?
Yeah. And I think like a lot of like the comedians that I look up to, like Elijah Schlesinger and Whitney Cummings, like they both didn't have kids until like their late 30s, early 40s because they were focused on their career.
Is that with men that are around the same age as them or no?
Yeah, I think so. But male comics I feel like don't deal with like not having to be able to have kids until later as much because you don't have to take care of the kid as much. you know?
Physically or like emotionally or
Yeah,
everything?
I mean, like, now it's frowned upon if you're not a good dad, but back then it was just kind of like, well, that's just what a dad is.
Well, now it's more in your face. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
like, my baby dad ain't been around. He's deadbeat and shit like that.
Like, it used
It'll
to
get
be
blown up.
okay if you were like a touring male comic and your wife stayed at home with the kids and you like saw your kids once a year.
Yeah.
When you like weren't touring. Like, that used to be fine. And now people are like, hey, it's kind of not
Hello?
like you're
Yeah.
not like their brain isn't developing right because they've never had a dad around. Like, so
I'm in no rush.
do you want kids though?
Yeah. Maybe I'd like to test it out, like have a dog first, but I also don't really want a dog. I don't know. I know I definitely want kids, I'd say, but like not within the next 3 years for sure.
Yeah.
Probably not 4. I can't see 5.
Would you
Probably
stay in
40.
New York if you had kids?
I gotta.
I
grew up here. I grew up here.
In the city.
Oh.
Yeah.
6 weeks. I went to kindergarten, middle school, high school, and then I came back. I've been here my whole life.
In like
leave.
Manhattan.
I grew up on 12th Street and Greenwich Avenue and then moved to 18th and 2nd. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So did your parents like, was there like, did you grow up in like kind of like a like apartment like this?
Yes.
As
like
a kid?
little bit bigger than this apartment until I was like 5. And then my dad
Like you didn't even have
to
a
do
bed,
well.
like it was a 1 bedroom?
It was 1 bedroom, but they made it into 2. And then my dad started to like do well. And then my dad like bought he bought a brownstone on 18th and 2nd when I was probably like 8 years old. And I have 2 sisters, and then he worked in real estate. So he started to do well when I was like 8 to 10. And then by the time I was like 13, 14, started doing well. He went to business school at Pennsylvania, UPenn, Wharton.
Oh yeah.
So he's a very successful guy. And
Yeah.
to do what he had done, like raising kids in New York, you kind of have to be. But I think the bar has gotten higher. You know, like you need more and more money to grow up in New York. So we'll see. Somebody give me the bag. But yes, I gotta be in New York. Or maybe Miami.
Miami.
Maybe Los Angeles.
What
don't
have
like
you do you like
Los Angeles.
Miami?
I do. My dad is down there like a few months out of the year, so I'll go down and visit him. And I like the lifestyle, but I would have to be able to do everything that I'm doing now, but be based in Miami. Maybe I would do a little bit less stand up. Like last month I did.
It's not great for stand up there. It's fine, but it's not great.
Yeah, like last month I did 44 shows last month, which is the most I've ever done.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to do that living in Miami.
Yeah. You did that all of them here in New York?
Yes.
Wow.
And I liked it, but also I really enjoy the other aspects of comedy, whether it's like sketch, vlog, podcast stuff. So I can see myself doing less stand up, but it would have to be included in my monthly routine. Yeah. I'd say.
Do you think like growing up in New York made it easier to do stand up just because there was so much access to it?
That's a good question. I started like going to the stand when I was like 20 or maybe even younger, like 19, 20 years old. And one of my best friends, who's still one of my best friends, Giulio Gallerati, he was my tennis coach when I was like 13 years old. He was 19. He was a pro at the club that I was playing at. And by the time he started doing stand up, I was like a senior in high school. And then when I used to come back on weekends in college, I would go see him do stand up when he was like 26, 27. And he was going to places like the Stand or all over the place. And I would just go and watch him. And he was always great. He's always a funny guy. But I'd see other people at the shows that he was doing with, and I'd be like, I'm just as funny as these guys, whatever.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a slow burn into getting into it. And then I worked in real estate for 6 years at my dad's company. And I was like a property manager. And I was like, this could really be what I want to do. Well, not even that. It was just like this.
You were like
I can see
yourself
yeah,
to
I was
do
like,
it.
I can see myself taking over the biz.
Yeah, which is where I'm saying like you should leave. Like you should have left earlier.
I wish you had that podcast
I know.
back then.
I want to convince people.
But yeah, it was easier to get acclimated into. I know I keep using that word, but it was easier for me to see stand up and see that it was possible around. But it took me a while to get there.
Yeah, because you were in like your 20s, and I was thinking like I've like heard people here that like started in like their teens and stuff because they could just go to a comedy club at like 16 years old. Yeah. Or like I think I went to my first comedy show when I was like 17 actually.
Oh, yeah, that's young.
So it was like kind of young, but my parents were really into stand-up comedy.
Oh, really?
But there wasn't like clubs around where I was at, so we drove it was like a big event to like go to a comedy show. You know, we drive up into the city, like an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
Go watch it. Stay in like a Motel 8 or something.
Oh, wow.
Like, you know, like it was a big deal
Made,
for
like,
us.
a weekend out of it.
To go watch a comedy show. And then it wasn't until I was like 24, I was dating a guy. I moved into his condo that he had, and it was across the street from a comedy club. And so we would just go over there, you know, just to have something to do because it was across the street. And it's kind of the same thing. The more I went over there and watched it, I was like, I could do that. Like, I could do that.
I think so many people think that, though.
Yeah.
So many people think that, even standing outside like a place on Bleecker Street and be like, you guys want to come see stand-up show's about to start. People are like, I'm the comedy show.
Yeah.
You want to come out? You want to come do a set? And like, I don't know.
Oh, I know.
So
many people, I've always wanted to do that. And for me, I never
mm-hmm.
did. I never thought about doing it until like maybe 3 months before I started doing it. Like, I was like, I feel like I could probably do that. But before that, it never crossed my mind.
I think it's the people who, you know how you'll get a lot of praise from people like, I could never do that. It's really brave
That's
that
brave.
You're doing it, right?
I'm like, no, it's not.
Those are the people who never do it. And then also the people who are like, I could do that. That's so easy. Are the people who would never do it as well. It's the people who are like, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was funny. But it's the people who are in the middle about it who I think end up doing it.
Yeah.
The people on the opposite ends of the spectrum wouldn't really ever do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the people that are like, that's so brave. I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but it's also like skill.
Right, but you think about how many times you had to do it before you weren't nervous on stage. Like I probably had to do it 100 times, and maybe not 100, but a lot of times before I just don't get nervous anymore. Like maybe before certain shows, I'll get more nervous than each other.
I still get nervous.
But once I'm up there, I'm good. Last night was Sunday. I did 3 shows last night for a total of under 30 people, which is insane.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
But
like
it's
if people,
a Sunday.
Yeah, but still, if people outside of the comedy realm heard that, they'd be like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
But people in the comedy realm was like, "Oh, okay, you're getting those reps. It's good," which is funny, right?
Well, and it's also interesting here because growing like in the Midwest, and if you're like anywhere outside of New York or like LA, you just assume that comics are learning their set on the road for all these like big crowds. But I'm like, no, even like touring comics at the stand sometimes are there on a Sunday for 12 people. Like the biggest comics are still having to get those reps in and do.
People don't
shows.
see that.
No.
Nor know that.
No. And it doesn't matter how big you get. Like you're still going to see them out there bombing for 12 people every once in a while, which is, I mean, it's kind of nice to see when you're like not at that level. I'm like, oh, you also bombed for 12 people.
Jim Gaffigan, I used to run a show at the stand.
Yeah.
And Jim Gaffigan stopped by and did a show for like 20 people. This is when he was in the middle of writing his 8th hour that he had on whatever network it was. But things like that, all legends will come through and just do X amount of time for not that many people.
Yeah. And you don't see that anywhere besides somewhere like here.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
So
how did you grow your social media platform so big?
I started out on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because Instagram, like Reels weren't really like doing anything like that. So in 2021, I started making TikToks. And for me, I did not understand TikTok. I was treating it like a Facebook page where like I just thought everything that I put on there went out to like my 12 friends that I had on there. So I was just like, I was kind of being chaotic because none of my friends were on TikTok. So I thought I was just like putting stuff out to my 12 friends, like, haha, like, look what I'm doing today. And then I still think I didn't understand TikTok because my followers started to grow, but like I didn't know how to check the notifications even. Like I was just like posting stuff and wasn't even checking notifications. And then I looked one day and I had like 22,000 followers. And I was like, are 22,000 people watching? What? And then I had like one go really viral about I got like a tattoo on my leg that was supposed to be a jellyfish and it looked like a penis. And I just told the story. Yeah. It was really bad.
Do you still have it?
No, I got it covered up.
You got to cover it up. Oh, with another one.
Yeah. It was pink. It was veiny. It was supposed to be a jellyfish, but it looked exactly like a penis. And it got like, I told that story. I used to have it as a joke, but this was like, it was still kind of pandemic where I really wasn't getting on stage a lot. So I was kind of just telling my jokes in my car. Like I would be in my car and I would be like, you know how like sometimes you practice your jokes like out loud?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is how I'm going to say it. So that's kind of what I was doing, only I was saying it into my phone in the car. And then those just started like popping off. And then I did like some character stuff. I feel like I've done so many different avenues on social media, but people just there's people that have stuck with me. But I also feel like because I've reached a lot of different audiences, because then I did characters for a while. And so I got like a different kind of following because of that. Then I did polite catcalling with my friend Benedict. Those really blew up. And then, then stand-up clips. I had a stand-up clip go super viral. I feel like there's just been a lot of different things that I've hit. And I feel like because I've hit so many different styles of audiences, because I don't just post stand-up or sketch or me just directly talking to the camera. Like I think it grows faster because I'm reaching different audiences every single time.
Love that. So you don't need to stick with a niche, as a lot of people would say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think your follower count grows more if you're not sticking with a niche. However, I think if you have a niche, the followers that you have are very loyal. Yeah. I don't think I have super loyal followers. Like I have people that are like, oh yeah, I think you're funny, but I don't have my thing. You know, like I'm not like, oh yeah, you're the girl that does the blah, blah, blah. Right. Or I love your podcast, or, you know, they're just like, oh, you're funny. And that's pretty much it.
Well, we think you're funny.
Hey, well, thanks. But yeah, I don't know. I think it grows more for me because I do a lot of different stuff on there.
So this summer, you're on the road a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And you are going to be breaking out fully in the New York comedy scene.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most up until September, the next 4 months?
Up until September. I am here in New York, not leaving at all.
And you signed a year lease?
Yeah. Yeah. I will not be leaving in a year. I know that.
Let's go. Yeah. All right. Welcome, sister.
Yeah.
Love it.
Every month I extend. I'm like, when I first moved here, I was like 2 years max. And then like this month has been 4 years max. And then I feel like every time I talk to someone, I'm like 7 years max. And eventually it's probably just going to be forever. But no, I'm here. I don't start any type of like out of town work until August. So I want to, I just want to embrace the city for the next 3 months.
Amazing. Sara, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Of course, this has been a great episode. Guys, Sara is going to be in New York City, as you heard here, for the next 7 years. You get a chance to see her on Margarita Monday. Is that next Monday? This coming Monday. So today, as we are releasing this, it is Thursday. So in like 3 days. So this Monday, come check out Margarita Monday. Free show at the Comedy Shop every single Monday. Check the link in this YouTube video, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys are listening to this. But also follow Sara on her social media platform, which is Sara Pop Tarts. Love it. And that's why we booked you on the vegan show, because some Pop Tarts are vegan.
Oh.
If you didn't know that. I guess like the unfrosted stuff.
Yeah.
But before we get out of here, is there anything else you'd like to plug? Summer dates, maybe your website, or exciting things coming up? Please let us know.
Sara Huntington Comedy is my website, and that's where I have all my tour dates. So I'm going to be in Atlanta, Wisconsin, San Diego, Phoenix, Columbus, Ohio, and one more place. But if you go on my website, you'll see all the cities. So.
Love it. Sara, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.